Hey guys, cool by my back. I'm Rick.
I'm Maggie.
We're here with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex second gig. Last time,
Tokusa went to trial.
yes, we had a courtroom drama.
Yeah, and then he got hijacked.
He did get hijacked, and then the prosecutor's car got hijacked as well as the victim, and a little Section 9 justice was delivered. But they survived.
Is it justice?
They'll be fine. Someone's justice. Section 9's in this instance.
I mean, so they can sleep better at night?
Maybe.
Because it doesn't make me sleep better at night.
Makes me. Those guys were dicks.
I mean, sure, but like, if the system's so broken, it can't fix that situation that seems pretty like reasonable, then what's the hope for any other situation?
I don't know. We will see. It seems like Individual 11 wants to tear down some of the status quo.
Well, I might be the 12th member then, because, like, I don't know, it just seems too darn realistic, you know?
I don't know. But I'm curious to see what happens next.
Yeah.
So let's get there.
What weird episodes.
Was it good one?
Yeah, but, like, where is it tying in? What are we learning from this that we can't learn any other way?
Well, I mean, we learned the Major's backstory. That's big, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder...
It's just concerning, because it definitely feels like one of those things where it's like, you know, look at this picture of my family, and then the next scene he dies, sort of things.
Man, I have so many questions about that shop and what the Major remembers versus not. Like, are her memories... Like, how much of her brain was cybernized?
At that
Are her
point?
memories, like, infallible? Because if they're electronic, they should be stored the same way that they were created, right? Anytime she's had that, like, full prosthetic body onwards.
Well, I mean, it's possible that the processizing process obviously isn't finished for children until they're, like, fully developed. Like we talked about before, like, how the heck do they mimic all of the weird hormones and just all the changes that happen inside the brain?
Sure.
So maybe they would replace the damaged sections, but then leave the rest to, like, trying to grow until they're older?
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like especially for her, like, she was on death's door, so I imagine, like, they would have to replace pretty much everything in order to save her.
But then what's left?
No, that's the question. That's
the question
Ghost in the
she's
Shell
been
asks.
asking.
What's left? The ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But it seems like she tapped into one of those early sort of infallible memories and caught it.
So do you think...
Like a virus.
Yeah. Do you think she was, like, caught up in one of her
pre-cyberization memories?
Yeah. Almost like the mix between a dream and a memory, right?
Yeah. It's like, I do you have any memories like that?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, specifically, like, the ones between dream and memory. I've had a great struggle with, just because of, like, the vivid dreams and such, which is a side effect of the sleeping disorder, where it's like you can't tell the difference. But, like, really, really, what I mean is really, really early memories. Like, memories before you knew how to describe them, if that makes sense. Like, I remember memories that don't have words with them because I didn't know how to talk real well. Or maybe at all.
Yeah, I think so. I remember things like that. Like, I feel like I remember them near enough to how they happen. Whereas this, like, it seems plausible that shop exists, but why was everything around her? Like, was that just a feeling that she had?
A sensation of obsession or focus?
Yeah, and like, but why did Bato lose her, if that's the case? Right? Like, did she actually go somewhere else? I mean, it felt a lot like a Spirited Away kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Howl's Moving Castle or something where...
The door, just the next door she goes into.
Yeah, it's like that Miyamoto quote, right? Like, every door leads to another world.
Mm-hmm. And she found the door. And it was interesting.
Where did the door find her?
Well, it kind of, because like it's almost like she had to resummon it the exact same way, like go through all of the motions, retrace her sensory steps, in order to summon it. So it's interesting. Do you think it was her and her mind palace sort of thing? Do you think all of those memories were technically hers, and then that old lady was just like telling her own story?
I don't know.
It would explain the VHS tapes.
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like the old woman was real. But I don't know. Maybe not. Like, who would the old woman have represented? Would that have been her mother? She probably would have remembered her mother.
It could also just be a sensation of someone who is wise and safe.
Could be.
Or even just like the idea she might have of what she would have been at that time. She's way older than she looks.
Sure.
So maybe that's the image of what she thinks she would look like at this point.
Could be. And I wonder if that is what the world looks like to her, if from like a, not a human, but a non-prosthetic person.
Where everything's just like kind of brighter and...
It's warmer. It's like cozier.
Everything has like...
There's a lot of...
Tactile.
Not chaos, but there's just a lot of things around, you know? Whereas I feel like the show normally is... Like, it's a little more ordered. It's a lot colder most times.
Yeah, she usually seems very focused with the ability to, like, you know, gather all information to her and process it perfectly.
Well, she does, but just the art style as well, I think, feels like that, too.
Yeah, it felt a lot more like the sort of out-of-control input you get when you're a kid and you don't know what parts are important.
It felt more wonderful.
Yeah.
I think. It did feel very Miyazaki, this episode.
Yeah.
And...
It glittered.
I thought of Blade Runner with the cranes as well. And like are these my memories or are they not my memories? Like, what's real, what's not real? So I'm sure there was some inspiration coming from that for this episode too. But I really liked it. Mm-hmm. I want this kind of episode for all the characters. I mean, we got it for Bato a little bit. Like, we know his backstory some about the war.
That wasn't like a Bato-centric episode. That was just Bato, like, freaking all of a sudden, like, saying some dark shit in the middle of a different episode. Like, that wasn't the main story.
That was the main story of that episode. Mm-hmm. Of how, like, Bato would... Like, how the Americans or whatever were trying to use Bato's past against him to make him this killer. So, that was an interesting episode for him. We've had some stuff with Togusa. We had a little bit with Chief and, like, his wine.
His wine woman.
I like to get it for the rest of them, too.
Some of them we barely met.
I know.
If you're only making them with one hand, do you think you'd only have to make 500?
No, I don't think it works that way.
That would be hard, but not impossible.
I imagine, you could adapt fairly well. I wonder if you could do 2 separate ones at the same time.
Oh, shush.
That would be hard.
Oh, you walk into a room with a kid on a hospital bed making beautiful folded cranes with one hand, and you're like, do it both. so mean.
No, I was just trying to think of like where would the impossible limit be. So I certainly, if you gave it to me now, I couldn't do it with 2 hands. Not like first try. But after a bit, I've done a little bit of origami.
Yeah. It's very fun and relaxing.
It is.
Cranes especially, because like they're so symmetrical.
Well, I like the ones that can have like motion to them, like the frogs that can leap.
They pop.
They're cool. I feel like my memories would be stored on a VHS. I feel like that's a good...
Did you have very many VHSs when you were a kid?
I did, a lot. Like, I feel like a VHS makes more sense than like a Blu-ray or a flash drive.
Have you ever seen one die?
Well, yeah, like VHSs degrade, right? And I feel like memories degrade too.
Well, with the retelling.
Yeah, when you rewatch the VHS again and again, right? Like, I feel like it's a much better analogy than a DVD or something.
Yeah, I guess so. They do kind of get like fuzzy and such.
Yeah. And like you have to...
And the colors get like start to bleed.
Yeah. I like it. I like this shit.
You're just calling dibs.
Dibs on what?
Standard of memory, like... You just go to some shop someday and be like, keep it secret, keep it safe. Drop off a VHS copy that you somehow made of The Room.
I mean, you kind of have that too a little bit, like, you know, if your family had a camcorder or something, like, I mean, now we have iPhones and you get the videos that way, but like those videos turn into memories. Like for me, I don't remember very much from my childhood, but I remember looking at pictures of events from my childhood. And like that's how I remember it for a lot of them.
I thought I could remember a lot of my early memories when I was a kid. And then I realized it's because I was trying to imagine them from the height I was then. Like when I was taller and such. And so I just closed my eyes and just kind of relaxed and imagined looking up at Mom, and all of a sudden it's like it like weirdly clicked, and all of a sudden I could remember what the old apartment felt like. Like how the carpet felt weird and stuff.
I definitely get it at weird times. Like smells will do it sometimes.
Oh yeah, olfactory like memories and such. That's like one of the longest living ways to remember things.
Mm-hmm.
The most accurate, I think.
That's definitely happened where like I'll be somewhere and like smell a laundry detergent. It's like, oh, that's the laundry detergent that my grandmother had. And, like now I remember all these things of sleeping in these sheets and like what the bed looked like and what the room looked like at the time that now no longer looks like that.
I always wondered if there would be like it seems like an obvious thing, but just like a market for old scents, if that makes, you know, because the thing is, scents, they have a shelf life.
Yeah.
Like you cannot keep them alive forever. But if it were possible to like completely perfectly mimic some sort of scent that
you could like store it for later.
Yeah, or just like buy the experience.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know. It's just weird sense of just like certain areas of the country when the flowers are blooming, or like right after a rainstorm and beside a cornfield or something like that. It's like you have to be at certain places at certain times, and it's just perfect. And if you could buy a bottle or an envelope where you just like, and it was perfect, I think that'd be pretty cool. In which case, it probably already exists in this world somehow.
Well, yeah, it's tough to like describe a smell, right?
But is it like actually...
You'd have to provide it.
Yeah, is it actually like, you know, in which case you
But if you
basically
can provide it, then you already have it.
you'd have Google cars, like the Google camera cars things that go around and like take pictures of everything, except for scents. You want to know what a New York City street smells like?
No, thank you.
Well, tough luck, because here it is.
So now that Major remembers this, do you think she'll use her resources to track this guy down? Or do you think it's better if she never finds him? Or if he finds her? It's like she must have forgotten about him after a certain point, right? I mean, she's been through a lot in her life.
Mm-hmm. And presumably so is he. And what if he were to leave the country with a fully prosthetic body? Like we've heard before them talking about like bodies that don't need maintenance. Specifically, that one ninja dude that just jumped.
Oh, you think that's the boy?
I don't know, but that's an example of like a character it could be.
Sure.
Because otherwise, it seems like he'd have to come back to the country to get like regular maintenance done, you know?
Maybe. I don't know.
They specifically talked about like bodies that were only sold in Japan and such. And I imagine Japan seems like the sort of country where it's like, if you're Japanese, you should be Japanese. You know? The cultural like touchstone of the people. They're very traditional.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah,
Maybe he got really into theater.
We haven't heard of the ninja guy in a while, so that could tie back. I don't know. We'll see, but I really like this one.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch more. If you don't want to wait to watch us watch more, you can head over to patreon.com/spinwave right now and watch the next 4 reactions to this and so much more. Also full length. Also subscribe so that you can catch stuff as it comes. You never know when something's going to drop. And we're trying to get to 1 million. You can help us get there. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.